In early 1971, a Sikorsky CH-53 military helicopter belonging to the West German Armed Forces lifted off for what should have been a routine training mission over Lake Constance, a vast body of water on the border of Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. The weather was calm, visibility was clear, and all pre-flight checks had confirmed the helicopter to be in good working condition. The crew on board were highly experienced, particularly the pilot, who was regarded as one of the finest in his division. Shortly after departure, the crew made routine radio contact with ground control, reporting no issues. Everything about the mission appeared ordinary. Then, without any prior warning, all communication abruptly ceased. Witness accounts: villagers along the shores of Lake Constance later recounted a bizarre sight. They described the helicopter hovering in the sky unnaturally, as if suspended without forward motion. Some said it appeared to stall, yet the engines did not sound as though they had failed. Suddenly, with no smoke, fire, or visible damage, the helicopter dropped nose-first into the lake. The entire incident took only a few seconds, leaving witnesses stunned. Many also claimed to have heard a strange humming or vibrating sound in the air moments before the crash. Though no other aircraft were reported in the area, the recovery effort rescue teams were dispatched immediately. Divers entered the icy waters and located the wreckage deep below the surface. What they found raised even more questions. The rotor blades were badly twisted, suggesting they had encountered extreme stress midair, yet there was no evidence of a collision with another aircraft or bird strike. The fuselage, while damaged, did not display signs of an onboard explosion or fire. Most unsettling of all, the helicopter's black box revealed no technical malfunctions. Instead, it showed a sudden and complete loss of power, almost as if the entire system had been switched off in an instant. The missing files complicating matters further. Reports began circulating that the helicopter had been carrying sensitive military documents at the time of the crash. These were never recovered from the wreckage. Some speculated that the crash had not been an accident at all, but part of a deeper cover-up. Officials released only a brief statement blaming pilot error, a claim that angered families and raised suspicion among military analysts who knew the pilot's reputation. Theories and speculation. Over time, numerous theories emerged. Some suggested the helicopter had been caught in secret radar or electronic warfare tests in the region, which may have interfered with its navigation systems and caused a total electronic shutdown. Others whispered about the possibility of a midair encounter with an unidentified flying object, pointing to the humming sound reported by witnesses. Skeptics dismissed these claims, but the lack of official transparency only fueled the mystery. A mystery unsolved decades later, the Lake Constance disaster remains unsolved. Families of the crew continue to call for the release of classified files, but most records remain sealed. To this day, historians and aviation experts debate what could have brought down such a reliable helicopter under clear skies and in calm weather. What lingers is not just the tragedy of lost lives but the shadow of secrecy. The Lake Constance helicopter disaster has become a story that blurs the line between history and legend, a tale of a machine that fell from the sky, leaving behind only wreckage, silence, and questions that no one seems willing to answer. In June 1994, a Royal Air Force Chinook helicopter carrying 29 people, including nearly all of the United Kingdom's top counter-terrorism intelligence officers, flew across Scotland on what should have been a routine journey. As it passed near the Mull of Kintyre, the helicopter crashed into the hillside, killing everyone on board. The government quickly blamed the pilots, accusing them of flying too low in foggy weather. However, evidence soon surfaced that the helicopter's engine control system had a long history of malfunctions. Many came to believe the pilots were unfairly blamed to protect the reputation of the aircraft, and suspicions of a deeper cover-up never faded. Years later, in 2006, tragedy struck Nepal when a helicopter carrying government officials, conservationists, and environmentalists mysteriously went down in the Taplejung district. The weather was reportedly clear, and the helicopter had not shown mechanical problems before departure. Days later, rescuers discovered the wreckage deep in the forest, with no survivors. The official explanation cited poor visibility, but the political tensions in Nepal led many to believe sabotage could not be ruled out. The crash was devastating, wiping out some of the country's most important voices in conservation. Another disaster occurred in Mexico on December 24, 2018, when a helicopter carrying Puebla's newly elected governor, Martha Erika Alonso, and her husband, Senator Rafael Moreno Valle, crashed shortly after takeoff. Both had been prominent political figures, and Alonso's recent election had been hotly contested. Officials later claimed mechanical issues were to blame, yet critics pointed to inconsistencies in the investigation and the lack of transparency from authorities. Many suspected that the crash was not an accident at all but a politically motivated assassination disguised as mechanical failure. In Chile in 2008, an army helicopter carrying senior officers suddenly spun out of control and crashed in the Andes despite clear skies. Villagers nearby reported seeing bright flashes in the sky moments before impact, fueling speculation of weapons testing or even unidentified aerial phenomena. The official report simply cited technical failure, but the government withheld detailed findings, leaving locals convinced that the true story was far more unusual. A similar mystery unfolded in Poland in 2013 when a military Mi-8 helicopter went down during a training exercise. Communication with the crew ceased minutes before the crash, and no distress call was ever made. Investigators disagreed about whether fire broke out before or after impact, and suspicions grew because the country was still haunted by the unexplained 2010 Smolensk plane crash that killed Poland's president. For many, the silence surrounding the helicopter incident seemed part of a troubling pattern of unanswered questions. Across these cases, a pattern repeats itself. Helicopters carrying important passengers fall suddenly from the sky. Wreckage often shows damage that does not match official explanations, and in nearly every instance governments are quick to point to pilot error or weather, leaving grieving families and the public unconvinced. With key files sealed and investigations incomplete, these disasters remain more than tragedies. They stand as enduring mysteries where truth is obscured by silence and speculation fills the gaps.